Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some old Battlefield 4 footage. I thought it would be especially relevant for today's video because we're going to be talking about Battlefield 1. It has come out recently that EA Studios head Patrick Soderlund wasn't very impressed with the idea of World War I being the setting for the newest Battlefield game. Originally, he even rejected the idea when DICE presented it to him, saying that it's World War I, it's trench warfare, it can't be fun to play. It actually took a lot of time and convincing on the part of DICE, but eventually Soderlund finally approved the idea. He went on to say that World War I wasn't the most obvious choice. If you look at what the other partners in the industry are doing, they're going into sci-fi. We've had a lot of success in the modern military space, but we felt like there was a need for a change, and the need for a change is right. I really think he hit the nail on the head when he said that there was a need for change in the shooter space. Now, we may have just been talking about the Battlefield series as a whole, changing up the formula a little bit, which they have been known to do. Just look at Battlefield Hardline. But I feel as though he may have been talking about the shooter space as a whole, because in the past few years, there has been a ubiquitous trend in gaming, and that trend is future. It feels like just about everything that releases is set in a dystopian future, or at least has some heavy science fiction undertones to it. Now, I'm not saying that any of these games are bad or that the theme wasn't justified, but it can't be denied that there has just been a surge in sci-fi themed video games over the past few years, and fatigue is certainly starting to set in for certain gamers. It's no secret that the Battlefield 1 trailer has been very well received. It's earned just under 32 million views and 1.6 million likes in just 12 short days since its release, and that of course is only at the time of me recording this video. It's of course going to have more views and more likes by the time this video actually goes live, whereas the trailer for the new Call of Duty game, which of course is Battlefield's perpetual rival in the first-person shooter market, has received just under 23 million views in 16 days, so it's got less views and more days being released, with 2.3 million dislikes on the video, earning it the not-so-prestigious spot of the second most disliked YouTube video of all time, right there behind Justin Bieber's Baby. Now, I would certainly agree that at this point, it's a bit of a thing to dislike the Infinite Warfare trailer, and honestly, in my heart, I don't believe people hate that game as much as the internet is trying to make it seem with all the dislikes on that video, but it's also important to note that both of these trailers have only shown campaign cinematics with absolutely no actual gameplay. This, of course, means that fans are judging these trailers on only a couple of factors: theme, aesthetic, graphics, and overall presentation of the trailer itself. I'd say both trailers honestly did a fine job of what they were designed to do. They were designed to show us the setting that the game was going to be set in, as well as a little bit about what the game was going to be about. That's all it was designed to do, and I feel as though both trailers did a very good job of doing that, and honestly, I enjoyed both trailers. I thought they were both pretty good. If there's one thing that we can take away from these trailers, again, considering that all we learned from them was just basically the theme, is that shooter fans are growing weary of science fiction and futuristic themes in their games. They want shooter games to be more gritty and down to earth. Now, of course, we can try and take that even further and dissect every little thing about it, whether or not fans are actually more against the idea of a futuristic theme, or if they're just opposed to the idea of non-traditional movement and non-traditional abilities in their shooter games. We can go on for days on that, but that's a topic for a completely different time. Just right now, it seems as though shooter fans like the idea of a boots-on-the-ground, gritty, classic World War-style shooter game, as compared to a futuristic shooter game that's going to be set on different planets and on space stations and feature a new movement system similar to what we saw in Black Ops 3. That's just what I'm taking away from this. I feel as though if there's one thing we can learn from both these trailers, it's that fans want a classic shooter game again, although time will tell when we actually see the sales reports as to whether or not fans actually stick to their guns on this, or if they're just disliking the Infinite Warfare trailer to be part of that dislike train, if they're only liking the Battlefield 1 trailer to be part of that train. We're gonna have to see, but for now, I would like to close the video with a few more words from EA Studio head Patrick Soderlund on Battlefield 1 and its reception so far. He says, "We have to remember that so far, we have only shown one trailer. Yes, it's gotten a lot of success, but what's important is that we have to go back and make sure we deliver on the full promise of what Battlefield can be, and that we will do." I'm certainly interested to see where this is going to be going in the future, and ultimately how well these games are actually going to sell, and ultimately how well these games are actually going to be received by the player base. Is Infinite Warfare going to be this big disaster of a game everyone's claiming it's going to be? We'll have to see. Is Battlefield 1 going to be this glorious COD killer that everyone claims claims it's going to be, we're going to have to see. I just think that was very interesting that originally Battlefield 1 was rejected on the premise that it was going to be a World War I game and therefore wasn't going to be very fun, when in reality, the reason why the Battlefield 1 trailer has so many likes and it's so popular is because it's a World War I game and it's so different than what we're seeing with all the other games out there, and that's the big reason why, of course, Infinite Warfare's trailer has so many dislikes. And all this comes back to the fact that originally Patrick Soderlund rejected the idea of making this game a World War I game. So imagine where it would be if he actually has stuck to his guns on that and DICE was not able to convince him to allow them to put together a World War I shooter for the next installment of the Battlefield series. I have to wonder how that would have changed things. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I hope you guys all found it helpful and informative. Let me know your thoughts on Infinite Warfare versus Battlefield 1 down there in the comment section below. Drop me a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.